I was really impressed at how Andy went about pursuing her, and it helped me kind of reset my standards, just with my experience in the past and kind of having a lower opinion of what guy pursuit could be like. It was just really encouraging to watch a godly man pursuing in a really high quality way. So that really encouraged me.
Well, what has absolutely challenged me is the fact that Andy waited for the permission of Carissa's parents before he made a move. I've never seen that in my entire life.
I got an email from Andy saying, I forget the title, but it was some ominous title that, I was like, uh-oh, what's this? And so I told Wendy, and I said, yeah, he wanted to set up a time where he could Skype us, and he wanted to ask us something.
We knew what it was about.
So we knew it was, oh, okay, he wants to ask us something about Carissa. So.
When the relationship started, I really was upset. I did not want Carissa to get married at all.
I think Carissa's story has challenged me the most because Carissa and I are very similar in our reactions to the whole even idea of a relationship. And well, I'm not in Carissa's shoes right now. I think that her story has made it so it's not quite as scary of an idea as it was before.
Yeah, and then I don't know, I think it was just sort of like a slow burn with Carissa. Just a really sweet, gentle thing, like a season changing.
It's been a process of God working with Andy and his heart, and working with Carissa and on her heart, and preparing them for taking this step. God orchestrating something it's actually really awesome to see, and when it comes to fruition, it's a beautiful thing.
Oh, it was a process.
Well, we first met at church.
No. Micah's home group in 2009, February, when I came
I count that as church. Church home group.
We met Andy at church in Portland the first time. I don't remember the exact year, but he was one of the young men in youth group, kind of hanging around there at college career age. And that's the first time I remember meeting him was that.
But for me, the first time I really remember meeting him was when he came to Indonesia on a trip with Arlen. And so I remember him from that time. He came a couple of times, so I remember him from the first time that he came.
Carissa, I met her at your guys' church, at Carissa's and Andy's church, and I got to watch Carissa worship the Lord, and it was awesome. And so I was, since I love Andy, I had my feelers out. I was seeing, okay, what type of person this is. I was trying to all my like just kind of emotional feelers. I was asking the Holy Spirit, okay, who's this person? I want to know about this person because Andy is very interested in Carissa, and I want to make sure he gets a very good one. So I was being very cautious and being very aware of every move that Carissa was making and analyzing it in a very judgmental way. And I was actually taken off guard because she came right up to me and she introduced herself very politely and very respectfully, and I was ready to make some exact judgments of the situation. And I was kind of caught off guard and actually very impressed. So I kind of left the situation like, man, I was hoping to get some negative endpoint out of the deal, and it didn't really work out the way that I desired.
I first started to like Carissa in the beginning of 2010, and that was after spending an evening with her and some friends, and she said something that kind of perked my interest of, like, maybe they're, for me, was thinking like, you know, does this girl like me? And she said she kind of liked me, and apparently it wasn't in the way that, you know, I took it as. So
Not at all what it meant.
so, but because of that, I never really thought about that before. So we went and I prayed about it, and you know, and the Lord was like, you know, you should pursue this, but you should wait. So I was like, wow, this is interesting. So I just kind of, he told me to wait for, you know, for a while. So then like 6 months later, I asked him to, you know, to show me, you know, and it had been a while, and he said he would give me a sign in July.
During this time, I just started school, and that's when I got to know Andy better, and we hung out a lot together in the young adults group at church, and I was not at all interested in him. He was 8 years older than me. I was excited to be on my own and independent and pursuing what I felt the Lord was calling me to do, and I was not looking for any type of relationship. And in the summer, a lot of our friends all went home after school, so we were kind of the only like 2 young adult people left during the summer that were still around at the church, and so we hung out together a lot with church activities. Became good friends through that.
Yeah, we did.
It was a long process. It actually kind of sort of started, I would say, freshman year, sort of, maybe, when some of us at George Fox got suspicious that maybe Christian and Andy liked each other, and she flipped out on us and was like, no, and got really upset, and so we decided not to talk about it anymore. But as time progressed, Andy started doing little things that maybe hinted that he liked her, and so she'd come back and process it with me and with her mom over Skype, and it just kind of built from there.
And then we went to Indonesia.
Yeah, we went back to Indonesia, and we contacted Carissa through email and Skyping, and she was starting to be a little suspicious that maybe Andy was starting to like her more than just a casual friend. And she's asking us, you know, what she do. She doesn't really like this guy right now.
She doesn't want to lead him on.
Doesn't want to lead him on. She's really focused in school and really wants to pursue what the Lord has for her to do. Really wants to focus on that, and didn't really have a place for a guy in her life at the time. And at that time, she didn't have any feelings towards him.
And then in July.
And then in July, you know, when summer started, and now I felt like the Lord's going to talk to me about this in the summer. So I was like, okay, well, when's it going to happen? It's like, okay, it's the next few weeks. And the next 2 weeks was July, and we had this church outreach. Yeah. And during that time, I spent it with one of these guys that had come in and visited, and he was really just prophetic and really outgoing, and he, we were just really filled with the Holy Spirit afterwards and having a good time in the church parking lot, and he comes and he points at me and he says, I have a word for you. And he took me and he whispered in my ear and he pointed to Carissa.
And I saw it. I was right there in the parking lot.
Yeah.
I didn't hear what he said, but I saw that it had something to do with me.
And then he said, do you love this girl? And I thought about it for a moment, and I felt like something within me, like in my heart, like came up, and I was like, you know, I do. But, you know, and I was kind of like, I didn't know what to do after that. So, but it was right in the time where God said he would give me like a confirmation. And that was pretty obvious. So,
To me, though, that really set me back. I was like, no way is there a prophetic word happening about my relationship with Andy. Because I'd had friends over the past year that had been teasing me about Andy, and I was like, no, please stop. I don't want to ruin the friendship, because we're really good friends. And I wasn't interested in that way, and so to have yet another like prophetic word thing happen, I was like, no, what is going on? I was really frustrated. And so I started pulling back a lot and really sending negative signals just as he's starting to get all excited about the idea.
yeah, so, you know, I was like, okay, you know, what should I do? So I went and asked the Lord, but, and he said, wait, and she helped me with the waiting process. Because she totally sent me negative signals what does that mean? Well, for example, when she was leaving, she would say goodbye to everybody, and she'd hug everybody but me. She'd skip me. And I like knew her better than all the other people she was saying goodbye to. And it was like, I was like, what did I do wrong here? Why? What's going on? Like, there's something I'm not, and I was just thinking to myself, why? What's going on with this girl? I haven't done anything. So, anyway, so those are the type of things that she was doing. And, I didn't know why. She acted like she was mad at me or something. But, so anyway, so I just, I waited and I prayed about it. I felt like the Lord said wait. And then I was like, okay, well, what's the next step then? So I felt like, well, totally the honorable thing to do is to ask her parents.
So Andy, we set the time, Skype us, and he said he was really starting, like Carissa, and wanted to start a relationship, pursue it more, and wanted to know what we thought of that, and were we okay with that? And so we told him at that time, we said, we liked him, we thought he was a great guy, but the timing was off. We really felt that Carissa was so focused and really didn't have any men in her life and even time for that he could approach her if he wanted to, but we thought she would reject him if he approached her at that time because,
Carissa already communicated to us that she was not interested in him.
Anyone at the time, so it was not a good time. So we said, our advice to him would be, wait.
The time that he had to wait, it wasn't like he waited 6 weeks or a couple of months. He waited literally a year in holding back these feelings and trusting God and going to God in prayer to strengthen himself so that he could survive it emotionally. When so many other people would be like, no, this is way too much work, this is way too much effort, I can't handle this anymore, I'm just going to respond to the desires of my heart. He did not do that whatsoever.
My feelings never ceased, and God never took it away, and he kept saying wait, and that was really difficult for me.
He'd call me up and just unload and just go on and on and on and on, and he's like, what should I do? What should I do? I want to tell her that I like her. I just see her I see her on the weekends. I see her and I don't know what to do, and I just really like her and I have all these feelings, and I stay up way too late at night and I'm losing sleep and just anxiety attacks. And I didn't really know what to say. I was like, yep, I know, I know what you're going through, kind of. I don't know if you're going to make it because it doesn't sound like it.
It was really important for me because I wasn't in a place where I was ready for a relationship, and it took me, I think, until actually Christmas time when I went to Indonesia to visit my family and talking with them about this whole process, because they had been hearing my side of the story of what was going on for a while. And so in Christmas of 2010, I was talking with my parents about the whole situation, and my dad really challenged me about, like, don't you think other people could, get that you're two are for each other before you do? And that's just like, the Lord's confirmation. And I was like, yeah, I do really want confirmation. And I realized in that conversation that I hadn't really factored in people's wrong timing in delivering certain messages, or the ways that they deliver messages, or the ways that they deliver prophetic words. And if that was the case, if people had just started teasing me at the wrong time, or had been getting this prophetic insight and they just were not delivering it to me in the correct way, that maybe it really was, it could be God. It was just delivered to me through people who, in human error, that wasn't good. And I really wanted to know for myself. And I came out of that time, and at Christmas time, coming back with like, okay, I'm just gonna trust God, and I won't just write Andy off right away. I'll get to know him a little bit better and find a different reason to write him off as because before the reason was, this couldn't be God. God wouldn't, not tell me and only tell other people that this was that for me.
And then Carissa was was there. We saw her heart was
In
changing at
Christmas
time, and her and Evan flew back together. And so we knew Carissa's heart was changing, the timing might be better, so then we were just waiting on Andy.
And so I stopped sending negative signals.
She was better, yeah. And God had told me, because I've been waiting, okay, well, what's next? You know, we need to wait. And then he told me like that a relationship would change after Christmas.
And at one point, we were on the phone for like 3 hours. And I was at the point where I had to finally admit that I liked him. You know, probably more than just a friend. I liked him.
And I mean, we were Skyping, and Carissa goes, I like Andy. Actually, I don't just like him. I really like him. I remember that.
I was there the night that Carissa's mother was pulling it out of her for her to admit out loud that she actually liked Andy. It took about 15 minutes of her mom pulling me, come on, you know you like him, come on, what's wrong with him? And Chris just being like, no, I don't want to say it. As I'm like dying of laughter on the bed. Finally though, she said, okay, I like him. What do I do now? And
she's like, well, what about Andy? You know, Andy's not, he doesn't, what's Andy think? You know, I'm not sure if he likes me.
Okay,
you know, that
yeah,
whole
yeah.
thing, I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
so then there was
And
the
we
trip,
just,
yeah,
and we
February,
never told her. Remember, we never
February,
told her
so
about
Andy
Andy
came out
asking.
February.
We're like, we know he likes her.
I was with Jessica and Carissa, and we went to Sherry's after church, and we had gotten to talking about relationships, and Carissa had asked me a series of questions, one of them being, well, what if I was on the phone with somebody, not knowingly, for maybe a couple hours, like maybe 3. And I thought, well, I guess I was like, well, I might actually like that person if I was on the phone for that long. And then Carissa asked me, what if someone had, what about walking someone to their car and you've never done that before? And I thought, when you said that, way to go, Andy, that's really good. I really like that. But I thought, he probably likes you if he wants to go there. The best part about this was when Carissa said at the end of all of this, was like, hey, do you want to know who it is? And I was like, nah, I don't need to know who it is. And she's like, good, because I didn't want to tell you. And I was thinking in my mind, well, I already know who it is. It's Mr. Andy Gobble, and he's in Indonesia right now. Must be love.
And then he came back from Indonesia.
And we went on a walk, and we were talking, and up in Tabor Park, and that's when I told you that I liked you. And we should just continue, you know, getting to know each other and see where it goes.
And I said, I liked that idea. So we did. And then our relationship kind of progressed over the summer.
And so by that time, I mean, I've been praying about it for so long, I just knew that this is the one, you know. So,
He had waited a long time.
so yeah, it'd been like a year, over a year. So, so then I, you know, just as our relationship progressed and we got to know each other more, in July I was thinking, you know, well, I should, I was thinking of asking her dad and proposing in the summer, but God told me, like, I should wait till October. So I did. And I asked her dad, I got the ring.
I actually went with him to go get the ring, so, you know,
okay.
that's friendship.
Well, Andy was super hysterical again, as he always gets. When he talks about this girl Carissa, he kind of freaks out. So he calls me up, typically talking about somebody very special to him, and just in his panic way, freak out way, he just asks me if he can come up with Carissa, and he wants to propose to her at her house. And I was like, yeah, totally. come on up, we'll have dinner.
Me and Carissa were hanging out one night and she's like, I just wish that Andy would propose to me. Like, why can't he propose to me right now? Right now, why can't he just do that? And I'm, Carissa, do you think that Andy, you know, knows what he's doing? And he says, yes. I was like, okay, then you're good. A week later, he proposed.
So we saw them walk down the beach and we're like, okay, we're ready. And my heart started pounding. I don't know why I was so nervous. I started shaking. I bursted into a sweat when I saw them start walking back. And my first thought was when I saw them walking back, they're walking really fast. And I was like, oh man, I hope Andy didn't say the wrong thing, because they're walking way too fast. Like, they walk really graciously away from us, but they're just straight up hauling back. And I was like, am I going to be taking pictures or am I going to be saying goodbye? I couldn't find out what was going on. So now I'm just like seriously shaking up on the roof, hoping I'm not going to slide off and not make it. But I held on with everything. I tried to stay hidden so that Carissa didn't see me. And then they went over to the arbor and everything looked to be normal again. And then all of a sudden I see Andy drop on one knee, and I just got up and started taking as many pictures as I could. I just heard the camera just ching, 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 trying to grab every moment, not miss a thing. And I watched the whole thing. I saw the ring get pulled out of Andy's pocket when he knelt down, and I saw it just glisten in the light of the sun. And I saw Carissa's face just totally just light up, and it touched my heart in such a special way.
When the Lord just said that He will love her like no one else, and he's exactly what I've been praying for Carissa her whole life. What the Lord has been preparing for her is Andy. So I'm like, okay, Lord, I'm for this. I'm excited about this.
Still early in the relationship, I asked the Lord if they were going to get married, and I heard the answer yes. I got quite upset that time, and I just kept getting the same answer. I kept asking, and then so eventually I came to accept it, and now I'm okay with it now.
Why are you okay with it now?
I don't know. I guess the Lord just changed my heart along this subject.
Glory, drunkenness, children, God, blessings, goodness.
Babies. I foresee lots and lots of babies. I'm thinking 10 plus. So if you guys could just knock out a football team, that would be great. And I see a lot of blessings. Actually, I think the biggest thing is provision.
I think a life of adventure. They both love the Lord and love the Holy Spirit, so as they keep that up, the Holy Spirit will lead them and guide them. That'll be fun. They want kids, so I guess we'll have grandkids before.
Lots of them. I want lots of
She wants
grandkids.
lots of them. So
I can see a lot.
I foresee them being best friends forever. And I think that they are gonna learn from each other a lot. And I think that they're gonna grow old, have kids together, and that they're just gonna be a blessing to everybody that they come in contact with.
I perceive in their future a marriage that is spirit-filled. That's what comes to my mind when I look at them.
Their love is going to be a defiant love. It's going to be a love that defies even what past generations have said about marriage, what the world would say about love. Like, you know, it's going to defy people that say, oh, they're young and in love and like they'll mess up like I messed up, or people that speak from a disappointed or broken heart. It's going to defy that, you know, because their love and God's love for them will cover a multitude of sins, even a multitude of sins, like generational sins, you know, that they live in.